In the modern footballing lexicon, few fixtures arrive with a more predictable and yet compelling narrative than a clash with Diego Simeone's Atletico Madrid. It is a contest billed not merely as a game of football, but as an ideological schism, the free-flowing attacking patterns of a protagonist against the obdurate, cynical, and magnificently organized antagonism of the Cholismo doctrine. The pre-match punditry for Arsenal's Champions League encounter was a symphony of such assumptions, forecasting a tactical stalemate, a war of attrition, a borefest bereft of goals where every inch of turf would be a battlefield. What transpired, however, was not a stalemate, but a systematic demolition, a 4-0 thumping that made a mockery of prognostication and served as the apotheosis of Mikel Arteta's tactical project on the European stage. The result was a seismic event, not just for its margin, but for its victim. To inflict such a comprehensive dismantling upon a Simeone side is a rare and profound achievement. It was a night where Arsenal did not just win, they deconstructed a philosophy. Arteta, in his post-match elocution, spoke of transcending the tactical playbook. To disorganize them, you have to do something that is not in the book. You have to do it by finding that inspiration, those magic moments, he explained. This was not the language of a manager who had simply outthought his opponent, but of one who had unleashed a force of creative will that his counterpart's rigid system could not contain. Simeone's own testimony was perhaps the most startling and definitive verdict on the evening. Stripped of his usual defiance, he offered a rare, unvarnished admission of superiority. "Yes, I'd say the best team we faced this season," he conceded, a statement of capitulation that resonated more deeply than any tactical analysis could. "They compete so well, they run and they run, there's quality all over the pitch, they deserve to win." This was not just a concession of a result, but an acknowledgement of a paradigm. On this particular London night, one footballing worldview had comprehensively overwhelmed another. The statistics provided the empirical spine to this narrative. A near equal share of possession, 52% to Arsenal, belied a chasm in offensive potency. The Gunners carved out 6 big chances to Atletico's 1, a testament to the quality and incision of their attacks. 19 shots to 11, 4 goals to 0, a record unbeaten run against Spanish oppositions in the Champions League. And perhaps most tellingly, a clean sheet that extended Arsenal's astonishing defensive record to a mere 3 goals conceded across all competitions. This was not a lucky rout, it was a calculated and ruthless execution.
The context leading into the fixture was one of contrasting trajectories. Arsenal arrived at the Emirates summit in peak condition, top of the Premier League and navigating their Champions League group with a serene confidence. Atletico, by contrast, were a more volatile entity. Initial struggles to bed in new signings had given way to moments of explosive brilliance, most notably a 5-2 demolition of their rivals Real Madrid, a historic feat. Their talisman, Julian Alvarez, was in scorching form, a constant menace whose 13 goals in 11 Champions League appearances made him the focal point of their threat. Simeone had just overseen his 750th game, a monument to his endurance, but his side remained adrift in the league. Yet the lure of European football is littered with the hubris of English sides, underestimating the inherent quality and tournament nous of their Spanish counterparts. There was no room for complacency. The opening salvos of the match suggested Arsenal were acutely aware of the need for a fast start. Within 5 minutes, the effervescent Eberechi Eze danced past Jose Maria Jimenez, his deflected shot kissing the crossbar. The rebound fell kindly to Declan Rice, whose scuffed volley agonizingly bounced over, a moment of profligacy that felt ominous against such a notoriously parsimonious defense. The pressure was sustained. The precocious Miles Lewis-Skelly fired wide before Bukayo Saka, released by an exquisite Eze pass, was thwarted by the sprawling frame of the timeless Jan Oblak. Yet Atletico's threat remained latent, a coiled spring waiting to be released. A moment of alarming carelessness from David Raya, attempting to shepherd a ball out of play, nearly gifted the visitors the lead. Giuliano pounced. The ball was worked quickly to Alvarez, and with the goal gaping, the Emirates held its collective breath,
as the shot trickled mercifully wide. It was a stark reminder of the knife edge on which such encounters are balanced. Arsenal continued to dominate the aesthetic and territorial battle, crafting a beautiful move that ended with Gabriel Martinelli tapping in a Saka cross, only for the offside flag to correctly intervene. The first half concluded with Martinelli miscuing a header. The chances were flowing, but the scoreboard remained stubbornly, unnervingly blank.
4 minutes into the second half came the match's definitive sliding doors moment. Alvarez, receiving the ball with his back to goal, swiveled and unleashed a thunderous strike that cannoned back off the crossbar. It was a moment of supreme individual quality that on another night could have irrevocably shifted the psychological dynamic. Instead, it served as the catalyst for Arsenal's ascendance. Galvanized rather than intimidated, they seized control with an intensity that Atletico could no longer withstand. The dam broke on 56 minutes from a set piece, often the Achilles heel of more fluid attacking sides, but here weaponized with brutal efficiency. A foul on the irrepressible Martinelli provided Rice with the platform. His delivery was a wicked, in-swinging question that the Atletico defense had no answer for, and Gabriel, ghosting in undetected, provided the emphatic header. 1-0. The visitors attempted a riposte, but Gabriel, now a sentinel at his own end, made a crucial block. Then came the hammer blow. On 68 minutes, Zubi found Lewis Skelly in the centre circle. The youngster embarked on a powerful driving run, committing defenders before releasing the ball with perfect timing to Martinelli, whose first-time instinctive finish curled past Oblak with the aid of the post. It was a goal of breathtaking speed and intelligence, a fusion of youthful exuberance and clinical execution. The Emirates crackled. The scent of a famous victory was in the air. Moments later, it became a rout. The relentless Martinelli, fed by another perceptive Zubimendi pass, centered for Eze. His volley spun into the path of Victor Gyökeres. The Swedish striker, who had endured a frustrating barren spell, saw the ball caught under his feet, but displayed immense strength to hold off a defender and squirm it goalwards. Fortune, so often a cruel mistress, favoured him as it trickled over the line. The eruption was one of relief as much as joy. The ensuing team celebration was a tableau of the squad's spirit, a genuine, unadulterated delight for a teammate who had toiled without reward. That camaraderie fueled the final flourish. 3 minutes later, another Rice set piece caused chaos. Big Gabby's header was met by Gyökeres, who needed only to nudge it home from point-blank range. 3 goals in 6 devastating minutes. The fortress had been razed to the ground. Arteta could now empty his bench, a place that has transformed under his tenure from a purgatory for the disaffected to a position of privilege, resting key players and ensuring the astonishing record of 0 home goals conceded in the Champions League group phase was maintained.
From the crucible of a Madrid derby to the cauldron of the Emirates, this Arsenal team is demonstrating a capacity not just to learn, but to deliver resounding statements on the grandest of stages. This was more than a victory, it was an assertion of identity. To so thoroughly dominate and dismantle a team managed by Diego Simeone is to prove you possess not just tactical sophistication, but also a ruthless clinical edge. The performance was a microcosm of the club's evolution. The patience of trusting the process is now bearing fruit in the form of a squad with formidable depth and a burgeoning collective spirit. The hard graft of a player like Gyökeres is celebrated as profoundly as the flair of an Eze or the finishing of Martinelli. This win, securing 3 consecutive Champions League victories without conceding for the first time since 2007, solidifies their standing as a genuine European contender. The immediate focus, as is the relentless demand of modern football, will shift to the domestic challenge of Crystal Palace, but the echoes of this night will linger. It was a night where Arsenal stared into the abyss of a tactical quagmire and instead forged a masterpiece of attacking football, proving that inspiration, when harnessed to a coherent structure, remains the most potent force in the beautiful game. But in the rarefied air of continental triumph, where the floodlights of a European night seem to burn brighter and the stakes feel almost existential, it is easy to lose one's footing.
Fresh from a cathartic and resounding victory over Atletico Madrid, Mikel Arteta's Arsenal returned to the Premier League not just as contenders, but as frontrunners, perched atop the table. The euphoria is palpable, yet it is precisely in these moments that the most profound tests of a champion's mettle are found. The challenge is no longer one of aspiration, but of consolidation. The opponent, Crystal Palace, represents far more than a routine London derby. They are the prosaic yet perilous reality check after a night of European poetry. This, folks, is what they call a potential banana skin, a fixture that serves as a litmus test for a team's maturity, focus, and ruthless appetite for success.
On paper, the fixture presents a study in contrasts. Arsenal are, without question, the division's form side. A remarkable run of 10 wins from 12 league outings, with the only blemishes being a tight loss to Liverpool and a strategic draw with Manchester City, underscores their metronomic consistency. Our defensive record is particularly striking. A parsimonious 3 goals conceded has furnished them with the league's best goal difference, +12, building a title charge on the foundations of a near impenetrable fortress. The Emirates has become a bastion where only a single league goal has been conceded all season. Crystal Palace, meanwhile, represent a more fascinating challenge. An excellent start to their campaign, built on an unbeaten run stretching back to last season, has recently given way to a more entertaining volatility. A loss to Everton and a chaotic 3-3 draw with Bournemouth have seen them slip to a respectable 8th. While goals have flowed, 12 in 8 games, their defence has shown signs of fragility, conceding 8 in that same period. They arrive in North London as a vibrant but vulnerable entity, capable of brilliance and collapse in equal measure.
Beyond the statistics, the match will be decided by a series of compelling individual confrontations, each with its own narrative intrigue. The most poignant subplot is undoubtedly Eberechi Eze's first game versus Palace since his high-profile move to the Arsenal. Still seeking his first league goal for the Gunners, Eze's motivation will be immense. Standing in his way is his former captain, Mark Guehi, a defender in imperious form. Their intimate knowledge of each other's strengths and weaknesses transforms this flank into a fascinating psychological battleground where friendship and professional duty will collide. The heart of the contest lies in midfield, where Spanish elegance meets English excellence. For us, Martin Zubimendi, the side's technical fulcrum, dictates play with quiet authority and press-resistant grace. He faces Adam Wharton, Palace's own young midfield maestro, whose creativity and flair have been central to their attacking verve. This duel is a clash of tempo setters, a battle for control that will determine which side can impose its rhythm on the game. In a more elemental confrontation, our defensive linchpin, the imperious Gabriel, will brace for the physical onslaught of Jean-Philippe Mateta. The Brazilian has been a colossus, dominant in the air and composed on the ball. He will be tested by a striker brimming with confidence after a recent hat-trick. Mateta's knack for dominating defenders in aerial duels promises a titanic, no-holds-barred clash in and around the Arsenal penalty area.
The task at hand will be how Arsenal's disciplined, systematic dominance will nullify the sporadic, chaotic brilliance that Crystal Palace are capable of producing. The Gunners have built an incredible run, conceding just 3 times in their last 9 games across all competitions, a testament to their structural integrity. Palace, conversely, have a habit of creating and missing significant chances. Ultimately, the confluence of form, defensive solidity, and home advantage points inexorably towards a victory for the league leaders. A professional, commanding performance would be the clearest statement yet that this team has transcended the role of challenger and fully embraced the relentless, week-in, week-out mindset of a champion in waiting. The process continues, but the destination looks more glorious than ever. The journey is long and we are still in the initial phase. Let's keep the focus intact, increment the process with improvements with every game, and the process shall deliver the prize.
Thanks everyone for joining in. It's been a terrific week. Be it the Premier League or in Europe, the Gunners have launched the initial part of the assault. Let's hope the scale and the quality booms as we move ahead. That was a quick brief on Arsenal's statement win over Atletico Madrid and what kind of challenge Crystal Palace brings. Thanks for watching. This is the Arsenal Blueprint. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe and hype the video. We'll see you in the next one, and until then, come on the Arsenal.